Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Around the Town with Mark. I am Mark Whalen, your host, and we are always glad to have you tune in and visit with us. Well, it's spring. Well, it's not a great spring, but it's spring. That means summer's coming. Yeah, it will come sooner or later. And with that, of course, is lots and lots of events all around our beautiful area. We've got all kinds of things to see and to do in our summertime. It's just one of the great joys of living where we do, to have all these great events. And there's something new this year, something that's happening on Saturday, June 9th, called Groton Bank Day. And it's going to incorporate all kinds of different things, all happening that day, lots and lots of fun. And my two guests today are going to tell us all there is to know and what we need to know to really get the most out of this event. So allow me to introduce my two guests. We have Jacqui Copp from the Avery Copp House Museum.
Yes, hi Mark.
Hello there. And we have Wendy Connal from the Bill Memorial Library. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're both, I know, very involved with Groton Bank Day. We all share the little positions on the committee and that type of thing. But let's start out first by you each introducing yourselves to my audience, giving just a little bit about who and what you are. I'll start with Jacqui.
Sure. Yes, I'm Jacqui Copp. I'm the Development Director at the Avery Copp House Museum here on Groton Bank, and it's just such a lovely place to be and to work.
Wonderful, it certainly is, and we'll certainly be talking a lot more about that wonderful historic site. And Wendy.
Yes, my name is Wendy Connal. I'm the director of the Bill Memorial Library in the city of Groton, right next to Fort Griswold.
Which is also a beautiful historic building, built in 1890 by Frederick Bill, correct?
Yes.
Yes, all right, well, we'll want to talk a little bit more about that as well. Jacqui, give us an overview as to just what is Groton Bank Day?
Groton Bank Day, this is its first year. And a bunch of us, as you both know, got together to say, how can we combine the wonderful things that are happening in the early June here on Groton Bank. And of course, we're in year 11 of Art on Groton Bank, which has really been your baby and Wendy's baby for so long.
Yep.
And we have Connecticut Open House Day. And that is a day in which all participating museums and other nonprofit organizations, cultural organizations, open their doors to the public all day from 10 to 4 and allow people to come in and explore the museums and explore various locations. And that's always been a very successful component, and as has Art on Groton Bank. And we said, let's make it an even better experience. So let's combine those two things and create something where people want to come and explore Groton Bank and all it has to offer. And I think our tagline says it most concisely, which is explore arts and culture on historic Groton Bank. And that's what we hope people will do.
Oh, all right. Now, Wendy, we've been mentioning Groton Bank a lot, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that what we're talking about on Groton Bank, that you can't make a deposit, or especially can't make a withdrawal. You can make a deposit, we'll take your money. Tell us a little bit about what is Groton Bank. That's where the library is. Just give us a little bit of overview there.
Right, well, Groton Bank is the bank of the river, the Thames River on the Groton side. So we're rich in history, of course, with Fort Griswold and that battle of the Revolutionary War in 1781. It kind of sprung up out of those people, those historical figures.
So the thing for most people to know and to look for is, you if you're in New London, or you're going across the bridge, or you're out in the river, or just about anywhere in Groton, you see that obelisk, right? That beautiful obelisk right there up on the top of the hill. So that's the area we're talking about. That is sort of like the anchor, I guess, of the Groton Bank area.
Absolutely.
And of course, the area is full of beautiful captains' homes back when the whaling industry was big. So there's a lot of homes that were built in the 19th century that are all in that beautiful area of that beautiful neighborhood of Groton Bank. So there's a lot of things going on in Groton Bank every day of the year.
Yes.
All the time. Yeah. And so Groton Bank Day, this is, as you mentioned, this is the first one. And let's start talking about some of the components and some of the things that are going to be happening. One thing, of course, I mentioned the fact that we've got the river and New London and everything else. And one great thing that we've got is the water taxi. So let's talk about that water taxi, because that's a very big, important component, not just for Groton and New London now, but this is going to be a great component for Groton Bank Day.
Yes. Yes, I'll take
Please,
that. Sure.
take that, great.
Sure. We have been so fortunate this is year 3 of a water taxi on the Thames River. Thames River Heritage Park is the component of this Groton Bank Day consortium that made that happen. And the water taxi, under the great generosity of General Dynamics EB, is providing free transportation for anybody who's participating in Groton Bank Day all day. So you can ride the water taxi back and forth from New London, City Pier, and Fort Trumbull, and then take it straight over to the Groton Bank location. And so people will be able to do that day and night. And the water taxi will continue to run later in that day, is my understanding, so that if people want to park their car in the Groton Bank neighborhood and take the taxi over to New London to have dinner and then come back, or vice versa, because Paul's Pasta is always a great favorite on Groton Bank, then they can do so, and there will be no cost to them.
And of course, the landing for the water taxi is just down the hill from where the library is. Mm-hmm. So it's right there within this whole area where all these museum homes are.
Yes.
And there's going to be a free shuttle service as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And that's also going to be sponsored.
That is sponsored, yes. Groton Senior Center has just done a wonderful thing in providing a shuttle service for us, a van for shuttle for people. Because one of the aspects of the Groton banks, or the banks of the Thames on the Groton side, is the hills. And as you do gaze up at that wonderful obelisk for Fort Griswold, it's quite daunting to look up those hills. And it's fun to walk them when you are fully able, and it's a great day, and it's nice exercise, but not everybody's that lucky. So we wanted to be able to provide shuttle service through all the locations, which we will get into later, I'm assuming. The water taxi landing, all the locations, the wonderful expanse of Art on Groton Bank, and have a shuttle that will continuously run, provided by the Groton Senior Center, from place to place all day long, so that no matter your ability or desire to walk, you will be able to get from place to place as easily as possible.
Yes, that's great, because we want to be accessible to as many people as we possibly can.
Yes.
Right.
This is the type of an event that's going to be great for that.
Yes. And you can park in one place and then just take the shuttle around. So you're not always moving your car.
Well, that's a good time to mention, which I always like to do when we talk about Art and Groton Bank, which I'll ask you to talk about in a moment, Wendy, is that there is ample free parking all around the library area,
Right.
The street. So we have no parking issues. At least for Groton Bank, or Art on Groton Bank, there's always lots and lots of available free parking right there on site. So you don't have to drive around worrying about where am I going to park my car.
Right.
You know, if I'm going to have to park 2 miles away, or I'm going to have to pay for parking. We don't have to worry about any of that. We're very fortunate that way.
Yes, that is nice.
We really are. So Wendy, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Art on Groton Bank, and of course, it happens on the grounds of the library. So give us a little bit more of what is Art on Groton Bank.
It's an art festival. As Jacqui said, it's in its 11th year. So on the grounds of the library, we have a nice lawn to the side of the library that's filled with artists and artisans in all media. So we have, paintings, watercolors, jewelry, pottery. This year we'll have a face painter and a henna artist on site.
Great, that's always fun.
There are food vendors there. It's just a lot of fun to come out and spend the day. We have a table with basically local attractions. So a lot of the Groton Bank Day attractions will be represented there. Just you can look there at their flyers and decide where you want to go from there. We have interactive activities like a flag line where people can come, especially with kids, and add to the flag line.
which is always very, very popular. Yeah, and of course the Groton, the lawn of the library is just so beautiful, and it's high up there. We like to think that we get the breezes, as they say, which usually makes for a very beautiful day. And the weather is always beautiful, and it's going to be this year. I can guarantee it. I'm in control of that, so I like to be in control of everything, so that's perfect for me. Anyway, the event is, we have live music, and as Wendy mentioned, great food, all kinds of fun activities for kids of all ages, as people like to say. That flag line in particular is always terrific.
The Friends of the Library are also having their book sale that day.
Okay, great,
So
great. And of course, people can visit and tour and go inside the library. It'll be open for regular business hours. But that building itself, as we mentioned earlier, is a very beautiful historic building on its own right. Right there. So that alone is great, to go to Art and Groton Bank and go into the library and get a book.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. It's really a fun day. We've been doing this now this is my 4th year.
Okay.
And I just think Art and Groton Bank is a fun event, and it's very exciting this year that it's going to be joined by so many other great things happening all around the Groton Bank area. Jacqui, tell us a little bit more about, well, for instance, the Avery Copp House. Give us a little bit of the history on that, and what will be happening at the Avery Copp House on Groton Bank Day.
Sure. The Avery Copp House was built, about 1800, we believe. We don't have the exact year, but anyway, it is a house museum that was lived in by family members from that time all the way up until it became a museum just a short time ago. And by short time, I mean 5 years, not 1 year, but certainly not a long time ago. And the items within the house have been preserved through time, and everything that's there is actually representative and from the family. We did not have to add anything to it that was, similar to, it's a time capsule. And we really do show the house in about 1912 is what we focus on. Yes, okay. That time frame. And people come through all the time for lots of events. They hold birthday parties there and teas, and we have regular openings through the weekends. And on that day, that special open house day, we will have activities for children. The house will be fully open for tours. We have docents, volunteers, and paid. Our staff is wonderful, and people can come and just explore and see what life was like, and participate in activities that will give them a sense of what used to go on during the early 1900s. Sort of at that time, how did people live, and what did they need to do, and how did they enjoy and play?
Well, that's very exciting. I mean, the museum house is so unique, as you said, because it's a time capsule.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to put it together.
Right.
It is what it is, and it's wonderful to go in and see. And that's another part of the Groton Bank area is it spans so many periods of time. I mean, we are a maritime, we are a water community, a military community. So here we are, we have the beautiful river, we've got the train station right there across there, we've got a military base, the Fort Griswold Revolutionary War Fort, War of 1812 right across the river. We've got all these beautiful captain's homes and homes that go back to the Revolutionary War. Do either one of you want to mention, of course, the famous story about Mother Bailey?
Well, the story is interesting because it's about her bloomers, right? Her red bloomers.
Her petticoat.
Her petticoat.
Yes.
Petticoat. Yeah. Okay, wrong
Same
word.
difference, I guess.
Same difference.
Yeah.
Called petticoats then. Well, in fact, if I could add, the Mother Bailey House will in fact be open.
Wonderful.
On Groton Bank Day.
Excellent.
Which is great. It is not open normally yet. People are working very hard, as I understand it, to raise money and to open that to be a house museum that is available and accessible much more often. But on that day, it will be open. And Mother Bailey was, I guess, what it was? It was, her petticoat was made of felt, and the soldiers needed felt, correct?
For their muskets.
For their muskets.
Yes,
so
indeed.
she actually took off her petticoat, and there's some disagreement as to whether it happened in the street or whether it happened in a room, according to town historian Jim Streeter.
Okay,
I just
yeah.
spoke with him about this story just the other day, and there's some disagreement as to where it physically actually happened, but anyway, she did that. She took it right off of herself and gave it in the name of supporting the soldiers, and so it has kept her name and legacy alive, that story.
As she was notoriously as being quite the character,
Yeah.
and obviously had a very I want to say important role for people remembering this was a long time ago, and it was quite daring to let one know you were even wearing a petticoat.
That's true.
Let alone ripping it in shreds to give it to
give it
men to put in their muskets.
That's
So
true.
that,
Yankee ingenuity for you.
Right.
Yes,
right.
yes.
And a commitment to the cause.
Yes.
And which is absolutely wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we've got the Fort Griswold battlefield will be open
Yes.
as well.
We should also mention that these are all free. The sites are all open for free.
Yeah.
There's no entrance fee at all.
Nothing.
On the Groton Bank Day.
And each of these organizations has committed to having events there that will be hopefully interesting to the visitors, something they can, maybe a hands-on activity. I know Ebenezer Avery is planning a hands-on activity for visitors.
Right.
Anything that helps to engage and teach more about that particular
something-
home.
Yeah, I was going to say something representative to that particular historic site.
Yes.
Right. Very
which-
family-oriented and
Yeah.
children.
This day is about
oriented.
family. It's
Yeah.
about family fun, all ages.
Yep, yep. And it's all about, which is important to me, it's about community.
Yes.
And it's bringing together really all these beautiful sites that often operate on their own as the museum houses and that type of thing, but it's bringing all of them together to promote each other and to just really bring awareness to the fact that right here in little old Groton, we have a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things to offer for people that doesn't always realize how much history and how many wonderful things there are to do.
The residents of this city of Groton, which of course Groton Bank is a part of, I've only been in the area for about a year permanently. I've known of and been to the area a lot, but I'm amazed at the commitment of the people that I have met and been on committees with, just like you two, who really are committed to keeping that history alive and keeping it relevant. Relevant to the people of today, not just, oh, here was yesterday, but how do we show it and teach and learn from it? And very active community of people, and you, Mark, having people on your show, I know so often to help support that. And it's a lovely community. And this combination of the history of all of these locations that we've just been mentioning, and then the culture of wonderful artists and the work that they're going to see at Art on Groton Bank that you bring, you personally, along with Wendy and many other people that bring to the bank for that day. It's just a heartwarming and tells you about the enthusiasm.
Well, it's being on all these committees. It's a lot of work, but it's fun work. It's gratifying work.
Right.
It's sort of bring it on, and it's especially gratifying that day when you work to have this event go on and it's happening and you see all these visitors coming and smiling and having a good time, and it's just a really good feeling of community to do that. And of course we should make mention Art in Groton Bank is a really good opportunity for Christmas shopping.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Say the winter word.
oh, the winter word. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. We'll take that word out. It's a great shopping opportunity.
Good.
Because there's people that sell jewelry, and it's not all big ticket items. You can buy something for a couple of dollars, or if you want to buy something special to hang in the living room, you can do that too. We have a little bit of everything.
That's a nice range.
Yes, yes. So I know you've got something called a passport.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Sure. This we are launching on Groton Bank Day, and we're calling it a passport to knowledge. I don't know if you can see it. It's a small, very small example of it, but we are going to be providing each person who'd like to participate with a passport that has a map of all the participating locations in it, right in the center of it, to help people get around if they're choosing to walk and not be on the shuttle, or maybe identify a shuttle stop that they particularly want to stop in. And they can get stamps at those locations, and at each one learn a little bit about the history, including on Groton Bank, excuse me. And then go to each one, get some kind of a stamp like you would with a real passport.
Fun.
Yeah, and then they can hand it in. And it's not just, again, as I say, excuse me, for Groton Bank Day, but we're launching it then. We're going to keep this going as long as all the participating places want to keep it going.
Oh,
so we're going to
wonderful.
launch it that day, and then you can submit your passport, or at least a photograph of your passport so that you can keep it, and you can be entered in a drawing to win a prize just for having kind of gone through that process.
Oh,
And
excellent. So you get a reward.
you do. You can get it. You
You
could
might.
get a.
You
You
might
might get a reward
reward.
if you're lucky. So we think that will help underline the importance that this is all learning as well as joy and experiencing and purchasing. Hopefully, people do that at Art on Groton Bank.
And of course, obtaining this passport they're free.
They are free.
And two questions: where would one get the passport? And then when you're through with it, where would you send that picture of the passport?
Sure. You can get the passport at any of the participating locations. So when you get on the water taxi, you'll be able to get a
Get one on the
passport.
water taxi?
Yep, you can get one on the water taxi. And at Art on Groton Bank, they will be available at the Avery Copp House Museum, at the Bill Memorial Library,
Okay.
Ebenezer Avery House, Fort Griswold. The Groton Congregational Church will be open for the day, and
Wonderful.
they
That's
will also have passports.
Oh, of course. And they have, if people aren't familiar, that beautiful Tiffany stained glass window. So, I mean,
it's
a beautiful building.
It is a beautiful building, and it isn't often open on the time you might be able to stop by, and they will be available. And just those stained glass windows, it's worth going in and just breathing and enjoying that beautiful architecture of that church. The Mother Bailey House is another one, and those are our list of 9. And so that's a lot of locations where you'll be able to pick up the passport. As for handing it in, there are instructions in every passport so that you don't have to write this down, you don't have to remember, but there's an email address that it can be sent to, which is grotonbankday@gmail.com. And that, once you take picture of a couple of different pages so we know how to contact you should you win, you'd send those pictures into that email address. Or for those that don't have email, we know we have lots of people who just have not decided that technology is not their thing. So there's also instructions for where to send in information so that you can then get your passport submitted.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a really fun idea. I just like that. Again, it's another interactive activity that
Exactly.
That I imagine that even kids would really go for.
Yeah, and they could keep it.
Yeah. So it's something that the kids can run around with and get their own passports, right? And play with that.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Well, actually, we're getting down to like 5 minutes already. Doesn't this go by fast?
It does.
Yeah. So, are there things that I haven't mentioned that do you want to talk about sponsors or?
I do. I always do.
All right,
But
go
I'm in
for it.
development, so why wouldn't I want to talk about
Please,
sponsors?
let's do.
And the generosity. I'll just read out.
They're very important.
They are.
They really are important to. We can't put on these community events and make it free and open to everyone without help.
We have received in-kind donations in terms of advertising. We've received monetary donations. As you heard earlier, some specific donations earmarked for the water taxi and the shuttle bus. Really wonderful generosity. And I'll just, in no particular order, I'm going to mention these
please do.
sponsors because I have them here not in alphabetical, but just their logos. So
Sure.
Charter Oak Federal Credit Union has been a contributor to this, this event. The Guard Theater has provided
Oh,
advertising for us
Wonderful.
on their screen when they do films, which is just so helpful. And the Resident is providing advertising for us. And we do have an ad that has appeared at least a couple of times and will appear again for our whole Groton Bank Day, showing everyone all the places that are involved. Groton Utilities has given us space to put a banner. The City of Groton has provided some monetary support for us, for also, again, for banners and letting people know what's going on. And as I mentioned earlier, the Groton Senior Center for the shuttle bus and General Dynamics Electric Boat for the water taxi. And we're so grateful. Our whole committee has just been so surprised in a wonderful way about how unified people have been and come together in supporting this.
Well, it's so gratifying because it's a signal that the rest of these important players in our community see and know what these committees are doing and the good work that they're trying to do to promote the beautiful area that we live in.
Yes.
And realizing that to make this community a great place takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, and it can't be done without their support. And of course, we always want to give back to our sponsors,
Yes.
to show them how much we appreciate
Yes,
them.
please support these organizations. We really hope that people
Yes.
who are watching this give their business to these wonderful
Yes.
places, or just thank them if you see somebody. you know.
Yes, and come out that day.
Yes.
If you come out and visit us, Art and Groton Bank and Groton Bank Day, show your support. You don't have to, we'd love it if you could donate for us, but if you can't do that, we don't ask you to do that. We just want you to come out and enjoy yourself. Come to see what we're putting together for you. Really, we do. So, great. Again, I want to thank you both. Wendy, is there anything that you want to mention at the library that we haven't touched on?
No, just the friends are having their book sale, and then
Yeah, great.
the art on Groton Bank is outside.
Yeah.
So we'll be
Wonderful.
waiting for visitors to
Great.
come and check us out.
Great, great. Well, I want to thank you both, not just for being on my show. Thank you for being on my show, but I know how much work you both put in to working on these committees to make all of this happen. And I want to personally thank you for all the efforts that you put in, because I know you work very hard and you do a darn good job.
It's a pleasure.
So I want to thank you in many ways. Thank my viewers for tuning in today. Please make sure you put Groton Bank Day, Saturday, June 9, on your calendar. So many great things to see and to do. Also, I want to make mention that June 14th here at the studio, Plaza Court, from 5:30 to 8 is an open house. It's open, free. The studio is open to everyone. We'd love to have you come down and visit, see this beautiful studio. There's going to be live music. There's going to be wine. There's going to be food. There's going to be great art. So again, it's another great event. We'd love to have you come down and visit with us on June 14th. We definitely expect to see you on June 9th. And I expect to see you back here on the Round the Town with Mark very soon. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again.